What is up, everybody? First off, I would just like to say thank you so much for visiting the Big Sam YouTube channel here, and I just really wanted to say thank you, everyone. Like I just said, for coming and visiting. The main purpose for this channel, I've wanted to start a YouTube channel for years. I mean, months, but if not months, years for sure. And I just want to try to do my best to give back to the ones that have given me the most. So everybody on YouTube that designs and makes and are they're makers, they're engineers, they're just everyone, from John Saunders, John Grismo, all those guys in the machining world that have taught me so much and allowed me to pursue my passion for CNC machining, being a maker, designing, things like that. So I've been so almost petrified to start a YouTube channel, but now I think that I'm diving in. I think that it's really going to be a good start for me, a good step, to really move forward with what I wanted to do. I have a huge passion for entrepreneurship, as well as design and CNC machining. So I think this channel is going to cover a lot, from business to design with the Fusion 360 software you see in front of you, to making things around the shop. Just I really want to grow. I want to start. I'm in the process of starting a business right now. I want you guys to go through with me. So if and when it's time for you guys to start your CNC machine shops or businesses in general, it doesn't have to be anything to do with design or machining. Maybe you won't make some of the same mistakes that I have and will make and am making currently, probably. So I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, before we get this video going. Please, if you would, please hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be putting out a lot more content. I'm hoping to put out a couple videos per week, whether it's with business, design, creation, anything. Making life a little easier, just kind of the whole nine. Going to be more of an entrepreneurship business, like I said, design channel here. So I'm really excited, and I'm excited to have you guys as viewers take this journey with me. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And with that being said, let's get started. And here is to many videos, and hopefully helpful videos. So anyway, what we're doing today is I'm fortunate enough to I've just purchased my first home. I'm going to be starting my quote-unquote small business out of my garage. So I'm doing a lot of updating right now to my garage, insulating it, putting up walls. And some of the biggest things I've done, I've built a workbench already out there. And I'm a very tall guy. I'm between 6'4" and 6'6"-ish. So when I build things, I build it to my spec, not necessarily the average human being. So I have an extra tall table, essentially, as a workstation that I'm using right now. So what I'm going to be doing is building this workbench to slide completely under it, and it's going to be on caster wheels. So I'm going to be able to use this workbench to roll all around my garage, doing different projects, having different things on it. Makes life a lot easier to have more of a mobile workstation, as well as a stationary one that's going to house, the more important things like monitors, things like that. So that's what you see here. This is the original design that we have, that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to walk you through step by step. As I pan around here, I'm going to walk you step by step through how to design this exact workbench. Now, I know I'm going to have some kind of different numbers, or kind of oddball numbers when I'm designing here, and that is simply because I'm having to specifically tailor to the original workbench that I have, because I want to make it as close and neat and tight into that space as possible. Just because if this is underneath, I still want to be able to have plenty of room to set a chair underneath my workbench, or a nice stool, and still be able to set fully up underneath it, with this bench either there or not there. So it's going to be great. I'm excited to have you guys watching, and so without further ado, I think we're just going to dive in here. This is the finished model, like I said, and what we're going to do is start from absolute scratch and move forward from there. So I was going to design this parametrically. I didn't see a whole lot of need, as I'm not going to be changing a lot of parameters throughout this design process. I have pretty much set in stone numbers that I have to guide by, or guidelines here to go by. So like I said, without further ado, let's dive into this Autodesk Fusion 360 software. And I don't want to go on too long of a rant about Autodesk as a company, but they are my absolute top 5 companies that I absolutely love and adore. Autodesk they do so much for the making community, engineering, design, everything in the field that I love. They do. They're the biggest name, in my opinion, you can have on your team. I love them so much. I've used them ever since in high school when I first got into design. I'm only 20 years old, but I've been designing for about 6-7 years now. That's a long story. I'll maybe get into that in another video, but I really, really enjoy Autodesk. The Fusion 360 software, if you've never heard of it, you can take this software. If you make less than $100,000 a year, or you're just a hobbyist or a maker or a student, and you get this software absolutely free, guys. And even if you don't fit into those parameters, I think it's not, I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but it is not very much for the kind of power that you're going to get. You can go through, you can see, we can 3D model right here. Sheet metal just launched today, actually. You can render for do marketing, product design, all kinds of crazy stuff. CAM, if you're into machining like I am. And we're going to be doing a lot of this later on, guys. I'm still in the process of learning that. So I'm really, really excited. And so let's just jump in. Let's just jump in and get started. So what we're going to do, I'm going to start a completely new design. So we're going to go up here to the little folded paper file section here. Just check the time. Okay, so let's go to New Design, and first thing we're going to do is we're going to save. So we're going to name this Workbench, and we're going to save it. So beautiful. What we're going to do every time we create a new part, what we're going to have to do is we're going to right-click, and we're going to have to go right here to New Component. That's very, very important. Every new piece that we're going to have to design is going to have to be a new component, and it allows things to work so much more fluent and easy. So we're going to double click on this and get it so where we can rename it. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to design the long frame rail here. So we're going to just name this frame long, hit enter, and I'll go back here. I can roll back down here at the bottom of the screen. If you see in the final design, I'm actually able to roll back to what you guys are seeing here. So what we're going to do is we're first going to design this frame. We're going to design the entire frame, and what's actually really cool about this is we're only have to design 2 pieces. Everything else is copy and paste in some pretty basic math. So first thing we're going to design is we're going to design this frame rail right here. So this frame right here, this guy. So all right, I'm going to go back up here. We're going to click on Workbench V1, and we're going to create a sketch. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sketch of the plane. This is all, the frame is going to be totally made out of nothing but 2x4s. So we're going to go up here to 2-point rectangle, and something that a lot of people don't, and I didn't even know for myself for the longest time, that a 2x4 is actually, the actual dimension for a 2x4 is 3.5 to ½ inch smaller. So than it actually is stated. So it's actually a 3.5 by 1.5. But obviously I understand a 2x4 is a lot easier to say and do things like that. So anyway, now we have the sketch drawn up from rectangle here, and my overall length that I'm going to have to use here is going to be 50 inches, or 50 inches, 50 and 3/8 inches. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there, but okay. So we're going to click the E on our keyboard, and that's going to give us the push-pull or extrude, same thing. I'm going to click on my face here, and you see I have this arrow. So now all I have to do is drag out, and I'm going to type in 50 and 3/8 of an inch. And as you can see, we can scroll out and kind of pan around. 50.375, enter, and bingo, we are ready to go now. So that's our first frame rail. And now what we're going to do, I'm going to go back up here to Workbench. I'm going to right click, New Component, double click, and now I'm going to do my short frame rail. So I'm going to do short, enter. And I'm going to go ahead and sketch on create my sketch on this plane just of the actual board. You can see, I know it's kind of hidden, but you can scroll in and kind of see there. So I'll go ahead and click there. I'm going to go over to my 2-point rectangle. Once again, I can just go ahead and draw it off to the side here, no issue. So it's going to be my 2x4, 3.5 by 1.5. And now I have another frame, or another sketch of the face of a 2x4. E for push-pull again. Click on it. I can pull it out. And this time, my the maximum width that I can have is 24.5. But what I have to be careful of here is, if you look, okay, my maximum width overall is 24.5 inches. But what I have to be careful of is I have to make sure I compensate for the width of both of the runners that are going to be on the outside for my frame rails. So all I have to do there is do my 24.5 inches and subtract 3 inches, 1.5 inches from each side, so a total of 3 inches. Pretty simple math there. And do 21.5 is my final. So now what I'm going to go back up to the workbench, right click, I'm going to activate it, or I could have just clicked the little circle right there and filled that in. And now I'm going to use the joint tool under Assemble. You can also click J on the keyboard. And I'm going to click that top face there, and I'm going to do the top. And if you see it once I get close, it'll snap to it for me. And now I'm locked in. Perfect. And that's all the designing we have to do for this frame rail, guys. From here on out, it's just going to be simple copy and paste and some pretty basic math. So I'm going to click here on my short frame rail. I'm going to go ahead and go to copy, and from copy I'm going to go ahead and hit paste. And what I'm going to do from here is I'm just going to drag this second piece that I've pasted in, I'm just going to drag it out to the side where I have pretty much 360-degree access to it. I'm going to go to joint again, or J on the keyboard, and I'm going to go to this top left corner this time where I snap to it. I'm going to go to the top right hand corner of my frame rail. It's locked in. I love those little animations that Autodesk does. It allows you to kind of make sure you see yourself be locked in there. It's a fantastic tool. I already have it copied, so all I have to do is go back again and paste. Excuse me. I can go here. I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter and leave it off to the side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit joint, and I'm going to go ahead and click. I'm going to select the absolute center of this. And then I can go over here, and it snaps me right to the center. As long as I can kind of find the center of this board, centered up right there, and bingo, I'm locked in, ready to go. Go ahead and hit OK. So now I have 3 of the 5 overall center support rails that I need. So now, pretty simple, all I have to do is, once again, I'm already copied and pasted, so all I have to do is paste. I'm going to go ahead and drag this out just a little bit. Notice I don't have 360-degree access to it still, but that's not an issue. If you look, I can still move this around. It's not locked in any way. I just moved it over, easier for me to see. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to assemble, or I'm going to do, in assembly, I'm going to hit join again. I'm going to go to this top right corner, and I'm going to go ahead and do it to this top right corner on my back side. And you notice it kind of sends it in a weird, funky direction. All I have to do is go over here to flip and click flip, and it does it just fine for me. And now this is where it's excuse me, where it's very unique to my situation, math-wise. I want to split the center of these two boards. I want to be in the center of these. So what I have to do, my number is going to be, I'm actually going to be in the negatives because I'm moving from left to right for my center point there. No big deal. All I have to do is click in, and it's normal math after you put in the negative sign. 11.469. But what I can't do is I have to remember to compensate for half the width of this board where I am pasting it from. So all I have to do is subtract 0.75 from that again, and it brings it out. I go ahead and hit enter, and I'm locked in. So I could go ahead and check my math, make sure I'm right, and hit enter, inspect, and go from side to side. And I could go over here to my results, and my distance is 10.719, which is a goofy number. I always like to do kind of rounded out whole numbers, but it's not a problem as long as I match. So 10.179, or 10.719, I'm sorry, and then I can go over here and check this distance, 10.719 as well. So we know our math is 100% correct, ready to go. So now all I have to do is add in one more. I'm still, all I have to do is hit paste. I could go ahead and hit continue. There's no need for me to have to capture my position after I moved. I'm going to go ahead and kind of drag it out right here as well. I'm going to hit OK. And same thing, guys. Go to Assemble, Joint, up to this top right. So you guys can see top right hand corner. It'll snap for it to me, or to it for me. Go right here, locked in, and I know it kind of does that again. All I have to do is go over here and hit flip. We can go over. All I have to do is type in the same exact numbers as I did last time. 11.469 minus 0.75 to compensate for half the width of my board. So I'm now centered halfway with my board, not on one side or the other. Hit enter. And we already checked the math on this side, so we know we're right on this side. And we are ready to go. Everything's locked in, ready to go. So now all we have to do is bring in another another long rail over here. So we're going to click here, right click. I'm going to copy that one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste it. I could go ahead and hit continue. I'm going to drag it over here, hit OK, and same thing as we've been doing this whole time, guys. I'm going to go ahead and click on that corner. I'm going to join it to this corner. It's going to shake and lock in for me, so we're ready to know we're good and locked in. Shake it around just to make sure nothing's moving, nothing's weird, and we are golden. We have now created our frame rail. What I'm going to do, if you notice on these light bulbs, I'm going to go up here to joints and just turn my light bulbs off so it turns off. I don't know if you notice, it turns off where it shows that we have joints, just to kind of unclutter it a little bit. So obviously we're not going to be building this out of this weird generic gray material. So what I can do is I can click on my first long frame rail, and I'm going to hold down shift and click on the bottom frame rail that we just connected. And I selected all of these, as you can see. I'm going to, with my mouse hovering over here, I'm going to right click and go to physical material. And what I can do in my library tab, I can go down to wood and get my wood drop down. And we're just going to make this out of simple generic pine that we can get at Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever. So, and all I did was press pull or click and drag it over on top of my part, and we were ready to go. Now I have not only the appearance but also the physical material. If I want to do a BOM or anything else, that'll give me accurate statistics for pine, for weight, things like that. Very, very useful tool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create our 4x4 legs. So we're going to go back up here to workstation, right click, new component, and we're going to name this. We're just going to name it simply leg. Go ahead and enter. It's leg 1. I'm going to create a 2D rectangle, and I'm just going to go ahead and create it right on the top plane of this piece here. I'm going to rotate it over, and I'm just going to draw a 3.5. Make sure you realize that when you're designing this, guys. It's a 4x4 is actually 3.5 by 3.5. E for push pull. Click on my face here, and the maximum height that I can use is 34 inches. Now if you look, it's created it kind of in a weird direction. So all I'm going to do is if I type in -34, now I'm going in the right direction. Everything's beautiful, ready to go. So all I have to do now is back to joints. That's the only thing I had to design, guys. So I can go to joint. What I'm going to do from there is I'm going to click this corner. Whoops. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to click this corner, and I'm going to mate it to this corner right there. Bingo. Snapped in, joined, ready to go. So go ahead and hit OK. And from here, I'm just going to go ahead and activate my top level design because there's no need to have any other thing designed. So if you notice leg 1, so all I have to do is go over here, press copy just like the last time. Go ahead and hit paste. And I'm just going to kind of drag it over in free space where I once again have that 360-degree access to it. I'm going to go ahead and hit joint, pan around. I'm going to grab this corner, pan back around, and I'm going to grab this corner of that end support beam and hit OK. And guys, if you think about when you're designing this, if you think about kind of and keep in the back of your mind how you're going to design it and how you're going to design your overall piece or part here, it makes it so much easier. So now I know so just when we think about when we're going to build it, I have my nails that are going to run through here. So now I know that I'm going to have to cross through at some point. I'm going to have to try to figure out how to cross through my nails. So, but now I only have to worry about doing it right here. I could put in two big nails to connect this 2x4. And then what I could do is I can make sure I am splitting my nails here so I can go in through this way too. Just something to think about. It's always easier to think about your final product while you're designing it, then it makes it so much easier for you in the long run. So we already have it copied. All I have to do is hit paste. I'm going to go ahead and drag it out here where I have complete freedom. I'm going to hit join, and I'm going to select this corner, and I'm going to select this corner. Locked in and ready to go. Now if you guys noticed, that's the third leg I put in. I only did leg 1 is what I named it. But thankfully when I do copy and paste I have leg 1, leg 2, and now leg 3. So it just makes a real nice numbering system. It helps you out quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and hit paste one more time. And the reason I'm using these arrows when I drag is because it keeps everything in a nice plane. So I don't have to worry about my heights. All I have to worry about is kind of getting it close as I need. So I'm going to hit join, putting it in this corner and this corner, and it's going to lock in. Love that animation once again. And go ahead and hit OK. And we're going to do the same thing as we just did. I'm going to hit here, leg 1, holding down shift, click leg 4. Now you can see all 4 of my legs are selected. Right click, physical material. It's going to go over here. And now I've already used pine in this design once, so I don't have to go down here and find it anymore. This will be right up here. I can drag, I can put it over, hover over one of my blue legs, and it's going to put all 4 of them on there for me. So we're getting close to being done here, guys. The only thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to put in supports and our MDF top. So let's go ahead and put in our supports while we're looking at it. Right click, new component, and I'm going to go ahead and name this rear support. Enter. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and create my sketch off of this face of the 2x4. And now you can see it's kind of jumbled around and weird. If you go back over here to legs where our light bulbs are, all I have to do is deselect leg 3 and 4. And now my legs are, I mean, they're still in the model, that's not an issue, but now I can see this, the face of this leg without much clutter. And it makes life so much easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create another 2x4, or in real life, a 3.5 by 3.5. And the maximum distance that I have between my two 2x4s for a support beam is going to be 40 and 3/8. And I know, and this is a completely specific thing to my particular project, if yours needs to be 40 or 40.5 or however big or small you want to use it if you want to build this table, be my guest. This is just totally for my specific application. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and hit E for press pull, select our square, and we got our box. I'm going to drag it out just a little bit, and I'm going to do 40.375. And now I'm going to go back up here and activate my top level design so we can do some joint work. I'm going to go to joint. And what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to select the center, just like I did for my center piece up here. I'm going to select the center of my 2x4, and I just want it in the center of the leg here. So all I have to do is find the center leg, bingo, and it's going to lock in with a rigid joint right there. No questions asked, ready to go. So we're locked in. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to go ahead and leave that as our generic gray right now. I'm going to go up to new component. Whoops, missed new component. There we go. And now I'm just going to call this my end supports. And that's going to be end support 1 of 2. I'm going to go ahead and go here. And I want to design it off of this leg. I kind of shook it around, no big deal. And this is leg 4. If you notice, I deselected the light bulb again. So now it's out of our way. Really, really easy to go ahead and design, guys. So I can go here, and I'm just going to type in 3.5 by 3.5 to get my 2x4. E for push-pull. go here. I'm going to drag it out just a little bit, and now my distance from here to here, for my particular part, is 14.5 inches. Beautiful. I'm going to go back up here, activate my top level. I'm going to go to Assemble. I'm going to select the center of that once again, and I'm going to go over to this part, or this leg, and put a rigid joint. Bingo. I'm going to go back over here to my light bulb. No problem. Turn that back on. And look at that, guys. Gorgeous. In support, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to paste it. I'm going to drag it over here so I kind of have 360-degree access to it once again. Back up to Assemble, Joint, Center Marker, Rigid Joint. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous, guys. And one final time, I'm going to go to Rear Support, click on that. Holding down Shift, I'm going to hit the other support. While right-clicking, I'm going to go ahead and hit Physical Material. My pine's already right up here. I'm going to click and hold it. I'm going to drag it over to where I have a blue part. Bingo. So now you have a completely pine 2x4 and 4x4 workbench completely assembled, ready to go. Absolutely awesome. And finally, we're going to need a tabletop for this bad boy. So I'm going to go back up here one final time, new component, and I'm just going to name it Top. So now all I have to do, I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to design off this board. Oops, get a little spin around. There we go. Beautiful. 2-point rectangle. I'm going to go to this point, to this point. E for push-pull. And make sure you just get everything. If it kind of wants to select different geometry, no issue. Make sure you get them both. And this is just going to be 1/2-inch MDF board, guys. Make sure our arrow's pointing up. If it was pointing down for whatever reason, all you have to do is hit -0.5 and it'll go the other direction. Hit Enter. Look at that. An awesome board. We can put it off to the side here. Let's go ahead and create our upper level component. I'm going to go ahead and hit Joint. I'm going to capture position this time, because if I don't, it's going to slide it back over. Oh, actually, I'll just show you guys. If you hit Continue, as you can see, it's going to slide it back over here. Kind of weird. It just makes life a little tougher. So all we're going to do... So now we're going to go back up to Joint. We're going to capture the position. That way it's just going to stay put. We're going to go to that point. And then we're going to go to this point. Bingo. We're locked in. Guys, check this out. How awesome is that? We have a completely assembled, ready to go workstation. And this thing is going to be such a hoss. If you guys decide to build this, you can sleep on this. You can put vices, toolboxes. You're not going to bust this. This thing is going to be so sturdy. So sturdy. And one final time, we're going to go over here. Something that's kind of weird that I found with Autodesk, and it's not a big deal at all. If you scroll down here through your woods, you can find MDF, which is the medium density fiberboard. If you go over here, we're going to select it and put it on top. No big deal, but it doesn't change your appearance, which is not a big deal, but it still gives you the physical properties of MDF, which is what we want. But so out here in space, I'm going to go ahead and hit the A key, and that brings up appearance for me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my wood in appearances. And I don't need finished. I don't need stained. All I need is unfinished. Under my wood tab, I went down to unfinished. And what I'm going to do, actually, I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to go to my search bar. I'm sorry, guys. I kind of got tongue twisted here. I'm going to go to MDF and search it. Helps if I type in MDF. And now I have MDF board right here. All I have to do is drag and drop over to this. Bingo. Now I have my MDF board. It looks just like the board you'll go and buy from Lowe's or Home Depot or your chosen hardware store. No big deal. But guys, check it out. In like 10 or 15 minutes, however long this video ends up being, we just designed an entire workbench for ourselves. So my next video is going to be about go ahead and making the prints, so we can take our prints to Lowe's or Home Depot. If you have the tools or you don't, if you're there at Home Depot, they can cut these boards for you, or Lowe's or wherever. or you could take it home and cut it. But what's going to be great about our next video is we're going to tear this back apart piece by piece, and we're going to be able, so you can go to the store and get the exact amount of material that you need, so you don't have to buy any more or any less. It saves you a ton of money. You don't have any guesswork. It's going to be great. So thank you guys for watching. Please hit that subscribe button if you like this content. Leave some comments. Let me know what I can do better. And I'm really excited for this journey. I'm really excited to get started here. I just want to say thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for watching this first video. And with that being said, we're going to call it here, and see you guys in the next video. Thank you.